Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Dude here, and today we're back with another video. This time we're going to be setting up the Citroen GT, the Group 3 model, of course. Now, I believe this to be one of the top 3 GR3 cars in the entire game, alongside the Renault RS01 and the Porsche 911. Now, while the Renault is more of a high-speed handling, slower track beast that really just dominates in the higher speed corners, the Porsche is more of a great, amazing all-rounder that does everything fantastic. The Citroen is a little bit more of a crazy, really oversteery, but extremely fast straight line monster. It's probably the best power car in the entire game. The car that I probably can compare it to the most is somewhere in between maybe the Ferrari and the Ford GT. It's really a lot like the Ford GT, except it has better high-speed handling than the Ford GT and only slightly worse top end. Yeah, so I can't stress this enough. This setup is extremely fast. Of course, if you find it to be too oversteery, I'm going to recommend a couple setup adjustments to mitigate those concerns, of course. Yeah, I really think you guys are in for a good one today. I'm obviously going to recommend tracks with lots of straights for this car, but in reality it's pretty good anywhere. Anything with high speed handling and straights tends to be extremely good for this car. I mean, it can get out of hairpins extremely fast, don't get me wrong, which is another very good benefit of this car. That's why honestly it's a top 3 car in my opinion. The only weakness really is just its drivability, especially on corner entry. It can be a little bit sketchy, but once you rein it in, like I said, it's a monster. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. 79% of the people who watch my videos are currently not subscribed, so if you could help me make that ratio just a little bit better, then I'd really greatly appreciate it. Also leaving a like and a comment to give me feedback on how I can make the video better, and also requesting cars in the comment section below that you would like to see me tune obviously helps me and it helps you out as well. So yeah, I really appreciate it, guys, but let's get into the setup. So here in the Citroen GT, we have the long transmission setup that I'm going to be using at Tokyo South Inner Loop, which is where I'm going to do the reference lap later on in the video. But yeah, so one of the things I recommend if you're having a hard time with the corner entry is to raise that front ride height. It will make it a lot more stable at high speed and during corner entry. Obviously, if you're on a track that requires a longer straight, then moving the final gear left helps you. And if you have a track that requires like a shorter straight, like Seaside, you want to move the final gear to the right. That's just the transmission adjustment, but the setup itself is pretty self-explanatory. But like I said, mess around with the ride height, the front ride height, until you find something that is comfortable for you. So yeah, that's about it for this car. It's probably the most high-risk, high-reward car in the entire class. But if you do get it right, it's a monster. It's a complete animal, and I think it might be the best overall Group 3 car. So as I said, we're going to do Tokyo South Inner Loop for our hot lap today, so I hope you guys enjoy that, and let's get right into it. So here we are at Tokyo South Inner Loop, just coming around the final corner here. Now this car, again, is extremely good on a track like this. It has some good high-speed corners, and obviously a lot of straights. So I would say it's probably the best car here, tied with the Peugeot VGT. But here, going into turn 1, get nice and low, try to stay off the outside wall. It almost looked like we grazed it, but I'm not sure we did. I think it was extremely close, but we still got an amazing exit out of that corner. Obviously, getting a good exit's important there because it leads us down this entire straight. So now we get hard on the brake right before the 100 sign. Maybe not right before it, but somewhere in between the 150 and the 100. Definitely want to stay as low as you can, but you cannot get 4 tires out outside the white lines, otherwise you'll get a penalty and dirty tires. But getting a good exit here is super important. I can't stress how important that dock section is. But here you want to not let the car slide. You can't really hear the tires over the red tarmac, but you can definitely get a feel for it. Let the car load up, get a good exit. Coming up to that first sector, that's a really good first sector. Or second sector. I'm not sure if that's the first or second sector. I think it's the first one. But the straight's pretty obviously self-explanatory. Just try to take the most optimum line you can without scrubbing off too much speed. Getting ready for the hairpin, of course, brake right after the 150. Really hard. Brake in a straight line, but then get the car turned in, trail brake on the way in. Second gear, get a little bit of the curb, but then get back to the gas as soon as possible into third. And once again, we have a little bit of a short shoot here where the Citroen can stretch its legs. Lift off the throttle here, but not all the way, to keep the car nice and stable. As you can see, I like to lift about halfway in this car in high-speed corners so it doesn't get sideways, and I recommend you guys do that as well if you're running the setup that I put in this video. Obviously, if you move the ride height, you can a bit more herky-jerky with the throttle, but Going through that S section fast is really important too, and we end up with a 144.4. Yeah, 144.4 is pretty close to the fastest lap that I've run here. This car is extremely strong. One thing to note is if you are running the setup the way I have it, obviously in this video, I do recommend in high-speed corners you don't fully lift off the gas immediately, because it really does upset the rear end and causes the car to get sideways. Again, if that's a condition that you don't enjoy having to deal with, moving the front ride height up will compromise a little bit of your cornering potential, but it will also make the car a lot more stable. So for some people that might be advantageous, and keep that in mind when tuning any mid-engined GR3 car, honestly, because every one of the mid-engine cars, when you lift off the gas really hard, it tends to step out sideways. So either really it's down to getting used to how the car feels on entry, or making that setup adjustment to the front ride height to make the car a little bit more predictable. Either one works. So I really hope you guys enjoy this setup in this video. Obviously, this is one of my pride and joy cars. I've been using it for a long time, one of my older setups, and this setup can do a lot of amazing lap times on a lot of different tracks. It's very versatile, and if you can get used to the way it drives, it's probably, as I mentioned, the best GR3 car in the entire game under max horsepower and minimum weight. So if you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys left a like and a comment. Of course, subscribing to the channel if you haven't would also really help me. Obviously, as a small YouTuber, the YouTube algorithm is not always in my favor, but you guys helping me and supporting the videos, just watching it even this far, really amazing, and I appreciate every single one of you. So yeah, that's another car in the books. The GT by Citroen is now finished, and so am I, guys. I'm going out for the night, but you guys have a good one. I'm out.